Hey, today I'd like to talk to you about two strategies for selling your speaking to trade associations. You ready? Let's get going. Let me put the PowerPoint on and see what we can get. Here we go. Awesome. Okay, the two strategies for selling to trade associations. Number one, it is a laser focus. If you can focus in on one industry, what's going to happen is you're going to get known in that industry. And what I suggest is pick a vertical. Now, when I say an industry, I might be talking distribution, manufacturing, retail, medical, so forth and so on. But if you go after all of the associations in one industry, then people are going to get to know you quicker. And when you work the when you work the National Association website and you look for their state association, their affiliates, their concurrent bodies, their sections, their chapters, have you, then you can also, a lot of those organizations will also have meetings where they're going to bring speakers in. So you can work your way up the chain, down the chain, get into the National Association, find the various meetings at the National Association, then do the same for the state association. And I am suggesting that you use the National Trade and Professional Association directory. You've heard me talk about this a million times before. Your public library should have it in the resource or the reference section. And in the middle of that section is the index. And in the index, there's all the different subjects, and you look at what subject or what industry you want. You take a picture of that. There could be 50 associations or maybe as much as a couple hundred associations, depending on how many are in that particular subject or industry. But the key is you're going so deep in an industry that they're going to get to know you quicker, faster, better. Now, after you've exhausted one industry, well, then you pick a second. And after you exhausted that, you pick third. But I'm here to tell you that it's probably going to take you, my guess is a month or two or three, maybe longer, to exhaust one industry, because you've got so many associations and so many of them have the state groups that you've just really got a lot to do. Now, you can also go to directoryofassociations.com. This is a free source online. And you see where I've got the red circle there, it's category. So you can click in there, again, the industry you're looking for, and you can pull associations from that industry. This will not be as robust as the National Trade and Professional Association directory, but it's pretty darn good. Also, another thing you can do, something you couldn't do a year ago, is you can go to ChatGPT and put a query in. So I just did it. I asked it, I said, list 15 names and websites for distribution associations. So I wanted to go down one industry. Now, when we look through this, okay, National Retail Federation is not a distribution association. And as I go through a few of them, some are, some aren't. So ChatGPT is not that intuitive. However, it can give you quite a list of associations. Now, the other thing I suggest is go deep and using the industry-specific societies of associations. Unfortunately, when I put in that query into ChatGPT, asking it for 15 industry-specific societies of associations, it couldn't give me one. Not one on this list is a society of association executives. So there are limitations to using ChatGPT for search. Maybe down the road, it'll get better, who knows? But I will tell you about some industry-specific societies of association executives. Again, the idea is go deep, deep, deep in one vertical in one industry. So if, as an example, you were involved in science or any of the STEM, so here is the American Association of Engineering Societies. So all of the members of this group are executive directors of the various societies within engineering. So that will allow you to go deep in that industry. Also going deep in an industry, medical. So AMSE is American Association of Medical Society Executives. So anything from, the California Medical Association or various state societies to all of the different specialties, this, that, and the other. A good number of those executive directors belong to AMSE. They do a big annual meeting every summer. How about the food industry? Food Industry Association executives. So at this URL, and you may want to do a quick, screen capture right here. So we can go deep in society executives that are involved in the food industry. That might be your thing. It might not be. Going further in the restaurant world, now there is the National Association of Restaurants, which ChatGPT just did pull up, but it could not find this. The Council of State Restaurant Associations. So what this is all the state restaurant association executive directors belong to this, and they put their energy in learning how to better run a state association. And as you look in their directory, you can see the various state associations. Now here's another one, again, industry specific. International Society of Hotel Associations. You might want to do a screen capture because of the URL here. This is BAM, okay? All of the international, all of the hotel associations. I've from the Hispanic hotel owners to the Black hotel owners to, soup to nuts. It's all across the board. Then we have the National Alliance of State Pharmacy Associations, same thing. You see where I've circled the members, I put the cursor over it, and it popped up state associations. There you go. And click on that, and here you go. Here are the state associations. Then over on the far right, if you notice, I've got the cross line or horizontal line circled. If you go down one, you'll see the cross line. Okay, all that is just showing you is if you click on the cross, then you will get more information about the various association executives, like their address, so forth and so on. The osteopathic state executive directors, this is in medical. They just, osteopaths are different from MDs, and we could get into a long history of why that is, but let's just say that here's another place to go. And if you noticed who is on the board, it is the various state executive director or the executives from various state osteopathic associations. It's just so easy to go deep. State Council of Retail Associations. Again, easy to go deep in a particular industry. You just have to find, it takes a little bit of investigation on your part. And unfortunately, ChatGPT is not the place to do this. You're going to need to do Google searches. The second approach that I wanted to throw at you is scattered. So the first approach is laser, and the second approach is scattered and or letting clients self-select. So in this more scattered approach, and you can't do both approaches at the same time. I think the laser focus approach is better, but you can do both. And what is just important to understand is that, when you're working in the focus of a laser approach as opposed to a scatter approach. And the interesting thing from the scattered approach is sometimes you'll find industries that resonate with you. That's the self-select, and that you would have never guessed that that would have been a good idea. So within this scattered approach, we can use LinkedIn. We can go to state and local societies of association executives. We can look at speaking at hosted buyer events, and you can get involved with various video directories like the ASSC has and like the Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame. So in looking at LinkedIn, again, you can use LinkedIn for specific searching, but when you put the company in, it's a little bit harder because as you see where the circle is in the company, I've put down here association, you'd have to put like distribution association or manufacturing association or something like that. If you wanted to use this approach for more laser, but just using it for scattered, you can put title, CEO, company name, association. You notice on the top I circled and I check marked. We want people that are second connection. Most of you know that I'm connected with a ton of association executives. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, that will make you second line with a number of association executives. Make sure that you, if you send a request, make sure you saw this workshop on the Run the World Networking Day. So in this circle here where it's got company, you want to look up association. You also want to look up society because there are as many associations as there are societies. And then for association, go through this whole list. Look up CEOs, look up executive directors, executive vice presidents, chief operating officers, president, editor, or communications director, director of events, or director of meetings. And these are a way that you can, if you want to take the scattered approach, just to find a lot of people to connect with that are association people, you can do this. You know, the thing that you got to do is be careful not to try to sell to them on the first connection. You know, if they connect with you, you thank them for connecting with you. Maybe you make some kind of relationship bank deposit. Say, I just want to let you know I've got a number of articles in my article bank that would maybe be helpful to your members, and there's permission to use it. Bing, you know, send it off. Okay, we're good, we're done. They can, you've made a relationship bank deposit. If they make any kind of a response, well, then the next thing after that is, hey, could you guide me to who in your organization selects speakers? I'd like to introduce myself to them. And then you're off to the races. Also within this scattered approach or letting clients self-select are the various state societies of association executives. I'm just putting a couple up to give you as an example. This is Texas Society of Association Executives. It's a bigger state. They have pretty good meetings, and they've got a lot of decision makers at their meetings. If you know, whether you get a keynote or a breakout, you can have anywhere from 50 to 500 people in your audience, and most of them will be decision makers. I also like to put Georgia. Georgia's a little bit smaller state, but a good state. They've got good meetings, same type of thing. You can, if you're a member of the ASSC, all you have to do is go to resources, then click downloads. And under downloads, I've got a list for you of most of the state Society of Association Executives. And also I've got a list for you of the industry-specific Society of Association Executives. And on that list, it's all, you know, hot linked or hyperlinked. So you can just, you know, zip right to it. So if you're an ASSC member, you can do this a little bit easier. Florida Society of Association Executives, also another little bit larger state, bigger meetings, a little bit easier to find state associations that can hire you. Then there is the Association Societies of Alliance. So the reason I put this in, you might want to do a screen capture on this one because of the URL, is this is all of the state societies of association executives banding together to have a meeting and to be an alliance, to be collaborative with one another. So if you want to get a number of state societies of association executives to meet you or to see you, well, then you'd want to try to connect with the alliance here get on their program. Okay, let's move on. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I speak for a state society of association executives, I generally don't give them a handout. And what I'll do is I start the presentation and I start pretty fast, start giving a lot of content pretty quick. And I'm waiting till a lot of the people in the room start feverishly writing. And then I kind of stop and, kind of play, oh, shucks, dumb farmer type thing. And go, oh, hey, let me help you all out so you don't have to write so much. If any of you want the content from the PowerPoint, I'm not going to give you my pictures because it's going to be too large of a file. But if you want the content, I'll strip all the pictures out later today or tomorrow and convert it to a PDF, and I'll get it off to you. All you have to do at the end of the talk, just drop your card off at the desk here next to the projector, and just write PowerPoint, and I'll get it off to you. Well, I pretty much figure anybody that gives me their card, that kind of gives me justification or the right to contact them. So what I'll do is then I will contact them. I'll wait a couple weeks and ask them, hey, have you used anything from my workshop? If so, what have you used? And it's just kind of a benign question. It's a very safe question. I'm not, putting them in the corner trying to sell them anything, making them very relaxed. And then the next, I've asked them if they've accessed my article bank, because I always talk when I talk to societies of association executives, I always talk to them about my article bank. That I've got articles for member growth, articles for alliance, articles for selling, articles for personal responsibility. And I've got about 10 subcategories in my article bank. Okay, again, not trying to sell them anything, just being casual. Next, I'll ask them, because I'll talk about my member ROI group on LinkedIn. And hey, did you join the member ROI group? Again, these 3 questions are meant to just get their guard down. Next question is, hey, is there any possibility we might do business in the next 12 months? This is what I really wanted to ask. This is the real reason for the call, but I have to ask those first 3 questions to get them relaxed enough that when I get to question number 4, well, we might have something to talk about. And depending on how question number 4 goes, a lot of times I'll also go to question number 5. Hey, who could you recommend me to other association executives? This is a great way to speak at societies. Some people will come up to you. They'll say, hey, I'd love to have you speak for my association. Some won't. Some you might have to, do a little bit of work selling. Then the other thing is, as far as the scattered approach, the let them self-select you are hosted buyer events. Hosted buyer events are events that are put on mostly by meetings industry magazines, and they invite qualified buyers. Half of them tend to be corporate, half of them tend to be association, to this meeting. It's kind of like speed dating with the vendors, and they always have a few presentations so they can give continuing education credits for the CMP certified meeting professional. So that's where you or I might come in. So these are great things to speak at, and you want to go for the entire event, usually 2-3 days. Gives you time to get to know people, to schmooze. Don't rush in, speak, and rush out. You shoot yourself in the foot if you do that. You miss the whole point. But go in, be there for a couple of days, some are 2 days, some are 3 days. Get to know people and do your schmoozing, do your selling. North Star Meetings, they have Meetings and Conventions magazine, they have Successful Meetings magazine, and a host of others. So this is a good place to go check out. Then also Smart Meetings. They have a number of these same kinds of events that you might want to look at speaking at. Great way to, again, for the scattered approach, to let people self-select you. Then there are the showcases. Well, if any of you are familiar with ScarPeg, I'm sure you know about the ScarPeg's Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame. This happens to be the upcoming one, and you see where meeting planners register. One of the things that I'm constantly doing is I'm constantly pushing this out. Aiden's also constantly pushing this out to our list. So for the ScarPeg, the Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame, this is a great thing. I'm not going to take a lot of time to talk about it here, other than it's a great showcase. You get on the directory page. You may or may not get selected to be a virtual speaker Hall of Fame of the Year, but it's I do know that a lot of associations are going to this. I'm constantly promoting this page with the various societies of association executives I belong to. Also, the other thing is some of you that are in the ASSC and you've jumped on the directory, this is the same type of thing. I'm also pushing this out quite a lot. So yeah, there is an extra charge to be on this, but it's a one-time charge. And hey, as long as you stay a member, you never get charged again. And we're pushing it out there, pushing it out there, pushing it out there. So those are the two ways, the laser approach and the scattered approach. And if you're an ASSC member, I would encourage you to take advantage of all the things that we're doing to help you get business. If you're not an ASSC member, I'd say, maybe you want to take a look and consider joining. It's a month by month, so there's no actual commitment. Well, I hope you got a little bit out of that. And Aiden, back to you.